Hey there, welcome to your Positive Energy Recharge. I am your host, Jade Sterling, your women's health coach and nurse that helps you to balance your hormones, master your emotions, and create a life you love. And today I'm introducing you to my 6-step hormonal hacking system, where I actually take you through the process of how I took myself first and foremost, and then now take my clients through a process of hacking their hormones for hormonal harmony. And how do we do that? I'm so excited to introduce you to this. I'm actually at the moment, to be completely honest and transparent, I'm experimenting with what to call this process. I originally created it simply to create a life that you love. My story, in previous videos, you'll see I was in a state where every area of my life seemed to be crumbling around me. You know how you just feel like you're out of control and you're trying your best and your best isn't good enough and it just feels like everything's falling apart. I was in that state. I was really struggling in my marriage. I just wanted to leave my job. I felt like I was just being the worst parent ever. We had also had a community crisis where we had a flood as a result of a cyclone that took out our entire town. Like it was like bigger than big, and to me I felt like that it was the end of the world and I couldn't see past my own nose and my own misery. And through the help of a coach, I actually found my way out of the hole. It's the point that I call my rock bottom, where I was sitting at the bottom of a well just waiting to be saved, really. And I found a coach who helped me create a rope that got me to pull myself out of the well. And from there, I was actually so inspired to create a framework so that if ever I felt in a well again, I would be okay. I would be able to find my rope and pull my way out. So I created something called the Positive Energy Circuit, which is why I call these videos the Positive Energy Recharge, because they all come from this framework that I used to pull myself out of the well and get to the outside and look at the view that I've pulled myself up and out into and be in awe and feel gratitude and live in a place of abundance and experience scarcity and lack no more. Now, that's not to say I experience positive emotion all of the time, because that would have turned me into a robot. And it's also to say that that's not how we live our life. We actually can't experience positive emotion, by the way, without negative emotion, because we need contrast to be able to experience one or the other. But what this has helped me do is actually create a framework where I've been able to, whenever life comes at you, like really at you, completely throws you off course and you feel that you're drowning and there's no way out, you have a process. You have a very clear path to be able to just get back on track and settle into your own skin and be the best that you can be in any given situation. So the original name for this process was the Positive Energy Circuit. It's a rinse and repeat cycle that we go over for 6 steps for creating a life that's worthwhile, that we want to show up in every day, that we actually look forward to getting out of bed in the morning. Because when I was at my rock bottom, I was not in that place. And then that was like my first awakening, you could say, the first why I went into doing this work in the first place. Then I had another awakening where things were starting to definitely improve in my life, and I was at a place where I was happy and content, and I knew that I could manage anything that occurred on the outside. And then I started feeling very strange on the inside. Things were started to be a little bit unpredictable and things started to feel different for me on the inside. And then started chatting with my friends and they're like, oh yeah, we're there too. You know, there's this thing that comes before menopause. It's called perimenopause. Have you heard of it? Like, this is kind of a new term. It's not new. As a women's health nurse, I definitely was aware that perimenopause was a thing, but it wasn't something that we really talked about. Peri is a medical term that just means around. So perimenopause was around the time of menopause. And so I thought that that was really confined to much closer time period to the menopause, which is where you actually have a pause in your menses. Your period starts to stop occurring in a regular cycle. And so I thought that that was very much what would be later 40s, maybe to later 50s, all the peri time. They've done some research now and have discovered that the hormones start to shift and change around the age as early as 35. And so perimenopause can actually be experiencing for women as early as 35 years old, and it can actually go for years after you've experienced your last menstrual period. So this can actually be a period of it could possibly be 3 decades for some women. And there is a little bit of panic around that kind of discussion and those kind of figures as to it could be decades, it could just go on for so long, but it actually doesn't have to be that way. And this is what I'm going to share with you today. So after my own experience of my own awakening and my own ability to put into place systems that really worked for me to be able to not let life hijack me in a way that I felt like I could manage, then perimenopause crept in, and my friends and I were all talking about it, and we all realized that something's changing. And they started to say to me, so these processes that you have for being able to be centered and calm and connected with yourself, despite what's happening around you in the outside world, how does that work when on the inside your body is not predictable and you're not able to feel safe and feel like everything feels different? How do you feel that way? How do you actually remain centered and calm and connected with yourself when you can't actually trust yourself anymore? When you don't feel like yourself? When you feel like not only is everything outside of you changing and is out of your control, but actually what's happening inside of you is also out of your control? It's a bit scary, right? And I know, I've been there. It's definitely the most challenging times of our lives because we're adults right now and we feel like we should have nailed it by now. Surely at the age of, I'm about to turn 47 in a couple of weeks, surely we have been able to get to this age and stage of our lives and be able to claim some kind of authority as to who we are and what we want in the world and where we're going. But it's kind of like life just plonks us back in that state of being an adolescent and says, let's see how you go when things change and you can't predict and you can't have much forethought into what's going to happen in the next day, let alone the next week, month, year. It throws all that uncertainty back into the mix. Again, it doesn't have to be that way. So I actually took my positive energy circuit and adapted it to hormonal havoc and particularly emotional exhaustion, because I find that that is what comes up for women when they come and find me. So the first thing, before I even tell you about the positive energy circuit and how that will work in hacking your hormones to create harmony in your life during your perimenopausal and menopausal journey, let me just ask you this. Do you know for a fact, are you certain, or do you have an inkling that you are hormonal or you are emotional? And that is a really important distinction to make, because yes, our hormones influence our emotions, and our hormones are not in our control. They are actually run by our autonomic nervous system, controls the endocrine system that controls the release of hormones, that controls how they work in our body. I'm not going to fully go into the anatomy and physiology of that today, but it is part of a system that we don't have conscious control over. But we do actually have control over our emotional regulation. We actually do. We don't think we do a lot of the time, but we do. It's actually a state of being able to tap into your nervous system and consciously dial it down. And I've talked about this many, many times, and I'm going to talk about this as we go. But your emotions, where do they come from? Your emotions actually are, they're energy in motion. They've been studied, they've been tested, they've been researched by medical science, and it's been found that when your brain has a thought that you believe, it releases chemicals into your bloodstream. Those chemicals actually move in motion to create a feeling. There's actually a really subtle difference between an emotion and a feeling. An emotion is the process and the feeling is the experience. In a nutshell, could go deeper than that, but that's all you really need to know. In this case, we will talk about emotions and feelings interchangeably. It's quite appropriate in this context, but being able to understand that your feelings release chemicals into your bloodstream that creates emotion, and that is what you feel. And then that becomes how you show up, because your feelings then tell your body what to do. Now, in the case of hormonal havoc, how do we actually access that point where we can take control over our emotions? And so that's where the positive energy circuit comes in. But the first thing is to actually realize whether you're having a hormonal imbalance or whether you're actually having an emotional dysregulation problem. There is a difference. They can coexist at the same time, but we just have to look at it and look at the facts of what's happening for you, and then be able to go from there to find solutions to our problems. Because guess what? Both of those things, there are solutions to those issues. I don't like to call them problems because, as I've spoken about before, our hormones are supposed to dial down. The orchestra that is our female reproductive system, the orchestra members are designed to leave one by one and leave us with not an empty space, but a vast, beautiful chamber of silence in which to access our deeper wisdom as women, and then go on to become the mentors and the teachers and the leaders for the next generation. So in this process, as wild as it is, because I actually saw a video the other day that it was explaining exactly how the female brain in menopause is working just as wildly with hormone fluctuations as a pubescent adolescent in puberty. So we really do go back to those years when things seem so changeable, so unpredictable, and the unknown and the uncertainty of it all. But we actually have a fully developed frontal lobe as an adult human being, which gives us a very big advantage to be able to know and understand the journey and make it not a process of feeling powerless and victim to perimenopause or menopause, but feeling powerful, seeing it as a portal to a new dimension of yourself that is a better version that you could ever have possibly imagined. So once we've looked at, and this is what I do as a coach, because being the coach and being the nurse, we can actually look at what's happening with your hormones. Are we having hormonal imbalance? Are we having emotional dysregulation issues? We're probably experiencing both. But then what do you do with that? So there is my 6-step process. The positive energy circuit works completely and perfectly for perimenopausal women, which is why I'm just shouting it from the rooftops every single day on every platform that I possibly can. And I would like you to know that the original process of the positive energy circuit was 5 steps, because I really believe that all the work we should be doing is the psychology behind how we show up in our daily lives. But I do understand, I did and I do, but now I even more deeply understand there's a certain amount of biology that we can't control. So we need to still be able to understand the psychology to support the biology. And that is what I'm all about. This is my life's work now. And so the 5-step process of the positive energy circuit became the 6-step process, and I'll explain why. The first 5 steps really are working with the psychology to support the biology, and the last step is really looking at the biology and what we can do. It's the doing bit that we actually do at this phase of perimenopause to be able to ease the heavy load, be able to just take a breath, exhale, get through it in a way that is empowering, not the other way around. So I'm actually going to burl through these 6 steps because this is what I do in my coaching sessions, is what I teach in my masterclass. This, which you'll find a link for in the description below, this is actually what This is the meat and potatoes of what I do. Or look, if you're a vegetarian like me, it's the tofu and potatoes of what I do. And so I'm not going to go into lots of detail, but I'm going to introduce you to the 6, what I now call hormone hacks for perimenopausal mastery and hormone harmony. So the first step is intention. It's like, what? But actually, this is the most powerful part of the psychological component of this circuit, the positive energy circuit. Intention. Are you going to choose to be a victim in your perimenopausal journey? Try and say that 3 times fast. Perimenopausal journey, a victim? Are you going to be powerless to the process? Or are you going to choose to be an agent? An agent is somebody who steps into their power, someone who is autonomous, someone who decides that it's actually going to work out for them, that they're going to be the lucky one, where it actually doesn't have to be dramatic and traumatic, where it actually can be productive and peaceful and a purpose, powerful. Again, I love the P's. Say it all as fast as you can, because that even feels empowering in itself. Your intention is step 1, victim or agent. Step 2 looks at where you are right now in your journey. And this is an important part. It's called the evaluation step, where we evaluate where we are right now in every area of your life. And usually at this point, we do pick one, something specific that you want to work on as the vehicle, so that you learn all the steps, but picking one thing can be really helpful. And that might be something very specific in your life. That's usually something that's a fact of your life, whether it's your marriage or whether it's your work or whether it's your parenting. It's your finances. Well, what are you struggling with most at the moment that you feel like that your hormones and your emotions are driving, that you have no control over? And we'll pick that thing in your life and we'll use that as our vehicle. We evaluate where you are. And if you think about how your GPS works, it has to know your location before it can tell you where to go. And often people say to me, I know I don't need to do the evaluation part, because I know that where I am is not where I want to be, but I know what I want to create. So I just want to skip to step 3, is creation, the creation part. We can't skip step 2 because your GPS can't tell you how to get to where you're going before it knows where you are. So that's what we do when we evaluate. And in step 3, we create. We create. Where do you want to go? Where is your destination actually? Do you want to be in a place of peace and harmony where nothing ruffles your feathers? Do you still want to remain dynamic, engaged person in the world, but you want to do it in a more controlled and meaningful way? How do you actually want to show up in the world? What future do you want to create? Step 3 is creation. Step 4 is rewiring the brain, because that is the key to be able to get you. That's your GPS, your brain. That's your GPS to get you from where you are to where you want to be. We have to rewire your brain and create a new road. And that may seem like a bit like, whoa, but we've heard of neural pathways. We know now about different ways of thinking. I've taught continuously how your thoughts create your feelings, create your actions that then tell your body what to do and how you show up in the world. And sometimes this actually requires you to create a whole new road in your brain to drive down to be able to get to where you want to go. And it's totally doable without too much construction and excavation along the way. But sometimes we have to dig deep. It's just good to know. Step 4 is rewiring the brain. Step 5 is rewiring the heart. We actually look at the relationships in your life. You have 7 key relationships that really are that is the tool. Relationships are, I'm trying to find the right word because I haven't scripted this, but relationships are actually the component, the main component, and the number one factor as to how you experience the quality of your life, how you experience happiness, how you experience being satisfied and fulfilled is the quality of your relationships. There, I got it out. And so Rewiring the heart in relation to the 7 key relationships that you have in your life is absolutely vital. Once we've rewired the brain, the heart will be ready to be open to have a look at those 7 key relationships and get them in order, literally in order. It's another process, but it is so liberating, and it is so freeing to be able to then let go a whole bunch of baggage that you've probably been carrying for a really long time that you just don't need anymore. It's time to put that baggage down. Let's move on, feel lighter, and experience more enjoyment, connection, and fulfillment in your life. Doesn't that sound awesome? And it's totally available to you. Now, that's step number 5, rewiring the heart. So we rewire the brain, we rewire the heart. And then step 6 is the implementation step. That is a new addition to the hormone hacking version of this positive energy circuit. And so the implementation is I actually take you through 4 to 5 things that are specific to you and your wherever that you are in your situation. So one of them will be exercise. We look at what the right exercise is for you to implement, for you to maintain something that you can do every single day and also on a weekly basis, but something that is doable for you, that you don't dread, you don't want to avoid, you don't want to procrastinate, is actually fun for you. Exercise. We look at your diet. Of course, we're saying diet. Oh my gosh, of course we know that that is fundamental, but we know what we need to do, but why aren't you doing it? And so we need to actually make sure that that is in place, that it is in place in a way for you to be able to follow through, and it's sustainable, and it's something that you feel relaxed and at peace about. The third thing is supplements. We actually need supplements as women. It's not going to cost you a fortune. I actually have a Feel Great system that is comprised of 2 things that you take every single day, and it is so affordable and it is so effective to be able to manage your mood and your energy levels. And this also supports your exercising. This also supports your diet. And so it's part of the package that I'm shouting from the rooftops right now, the Feel Great system. Then the last thing that we look at is your daily rhythm. We look at your routines and your rhythms and how you're showing up in the world on a daily basis, how you're managing your time. Now that sometimes can branch off into looking at a very specific, and most of the time I do just include this with women who are really struggling to do all the things, right, to be able to nail a daily self-care routine. But it kind of is in that 4th, but then it sort of comes out on its own, because we actually have to make sure that you are checking in with yourself every single day. And for some people, I know that I've shared before, I've got 40 minutes every day where I get to meditate, I get to read, do some spiritual study, and then I do some yoga, stretching, physical stretching, and then I take the dog for a walk. That whole routine takes me 60 minutes, to be completely honest, but 40 minutes is the minimum that I do. Taking the dog for the walk is really the last thing that falls off the wagon if I'm not able to at that time, whatever's going on during the day. But the 40 minutes of meditation, spiritual study, and having a stretch just goes without saying. And I do that every single day, and it's something I can maintain 7 days a week. I've said time and time again, they have shown that 3 minutes a day is so much more beneficial for you in a habit, when you're trying to create healthy habit forming routines, and to be able to maintain optimal health and well-being. 3 minutes a day is so much more beneficial for you than 3 hours a week. We need to do something every single day, and we've got to get that in check for you. So that's the implementation step. So I've got it obviously here in front of me, which is why I'm looking up and down, because there is so much involved. But the 6 steps are, for the positive energy circuit to hack your hormones for hormonal harmony, is number 1, your intention, victim or agent. Number 2, evaluation. Where are you right now? Number 3, creation. Where do you want to go? Number 4, rewiring your brain using a compass that I have to show you the way. and a map so that you can never get lost again. Number 5 is rewiring the heart in relation to how you're showing up in your relationships and getting your relationships in order. Number 6 is implementation, exercise, diet, supplements, and routines and rhythms. That actually also works in with your cycle, wherever you are, with your menstrual cycle at the moment. It is like the perfect package for perimenopausal women. Again, say that 3 times fast. And I feel like it's something that's so close to my heart that has completely transformed my life. Like the first positive energy circuit is amazing and you can implement that in anything, of course. But when things started going wobbly on the inside, this was the game changer that I then started sharing with the world. And other people are having massive transformations in their inner world that, you know, just as a byproduct, completely transform your outside world. And even when life does come at you, I'm not trying to, as I said, turn you into a robot to experience only positive emotion and you're just happy all the time, because even though that sounds nice, you would actually not enjoy it. You know, sometimes a good cry feels really good. Sometimes yelling at someone is such a release. And we need the balance to be able to experience the higher highs when we do allow ourselves to experience the lower lows. It all balances out and it's all part of the human experience. And it does make us better people. Again, I talk about emotions being like the dumbbell weights for your mind. The more you use them, we get stronger and stronger, and it's amazing. So we're not trying to turn you into robots so that you're just happy and ecstatic all of the time. This is actually when life comes at you, you have a framework. You've got 6 steps. And in that, you've got a compass and a map so that you can literally never get lost again. I could talk about this all day, every day, every second, every moment. And so for today, I hope that that has been a little bit of a window, as I like to say, for you to get some fresh air and realize that there are other ways, there are other possibilities and opportunities for you if you're feeling like you're in the well, if you've hit your rock bottom. Watch as many of these videos as you possibly can. Reach out to me if you need to with the information in the description below. And remember to own your path and create your peace. And have a beautiful day. See you in the next video.